Back to the channel, everybody. Today's video we're going to discuss job change. Should you do it or should you stay where you're at? Hang around and we'll talk about it. Everybody, if you're new to the channel, my name's Travis. I basically have a channel that's centered around home and projects, life, and all kinds of different things. Basically anything I feel like is of value and might help someone and is worth discussing or showing you what I'm working on, learning from you guys, and vice versa. Let me rephrase. I haven't put a video up in probably a month and a half. About once a year I will take a short break from doing my videos and just kind of get myself on track, think about what I want to do as far as videos. But recently I had taken a short break and I had changed jobs. So I've been busy acclimating to my new job and the atmosphere and what my new job entails and things like that. So I kind of wanted to make a video. Every time I put up a video, I want there to be relevance to what's going on with me. But I think that's how people's lives are in general. It's there's change day to day. Nothing ever fits inside of a box for me. I don't make a channel that's just one set thing, one set type of video. I like the variety of the videos, but I also think that's why I enjoy doing the channel is that it flows with what I do on the day-to-day. So nonetheless, I wanted to discuss job change, why I changed jobs recently. For those of you who know or don't know what I used to do, I did residential home construction and remodel for a living. I worked with my brother and I was with him for about 7 years. Prior to that, most of my background was in the mechanical world. I went to school to do diesel mechanic work. I did that for about 10 years. I worked for a Cat dealer. And when the coal industry got slow, I actually moved into more of a managerial role at that Cat dealer. And that's one of the main places I probably got my feet wet into management. And I also kind of learned maybe what I didn't want to do for a job, I guess is the best way to put it. I guess in a way it was kind of what I was working myself towards over the years, and being more of the just regular employee role. And so that's just kind of the natural progression pattern. You know, if you're looking to move up, you move more towards management, and I did. And that particular job at that time, the area we live in, there was a lot of infrastructure being built. There was multiple bridges being built, and it was very chaotic, very busy, a lot of different hats for that position. And I kind of learned and that's why I say I learned what I didn't want to do. In a way, it was full-time management of people for me can be very difficult. I tend to think about it a lot like adult babysitting. Talking with other people, they tend to agree with me that that's similar to what it's like. But I heard something recently that actually correlates to this, and it makes me think. It makes me think about it in those exact terms. And sometimes in our own mind, we like to think that we're capable of more than what we are. And sometimes we have to learn real world truths. And that resonated with me because that is very much life. That is a lot of times how we learn different things, or that I don't think that should be used in any means of that to quit or that to not to strive for what you're after. But I think sometimes we're forced into learning what our capabilities are, and that's very much holds true with me for that job. It's not as though I couldn't do it, but it was to a point where I was unhappy when I came home on a day-to-day basis. So fast forward, my out was from that position was to go to work with my brother. I was a little indecisive about career changes, and so when I did that, it was a step outside of the box for me from what I had been doing with my hands as far as mechanical work. But we grew up in that manner. Our dad was always very hands-on, was in the construction trades and various trades, and so we had always been accustomed to it. We had worked on our own homes for years, flip houses. We'd been in and around concrete construction and different things, but he had approached me and thought that I'd be a valuable asset to them. So it was definitely a anxious step outside of my box to make that change and that move, to go from a fairly large business to a very small business where there was just a couple of us. And I did that for about the last 7 years, and I fell in love with the construction trades, and I always have liked it, but I was just reluctant to step away from the mechanical side of things and was trying to keep one career more in tune with the mechanical side. But working with family has its challenges. Everybody knows that, and it had been a great 7 years. They've always taken good care of me. There's not a lot of things that I wanted for. I very much learned that it doesn't really matter how much you're bringing home. Some of the jobs that I've had that paid the best, I was the most miserable. And there's something to be said for. There's something that to account for there. And I didn't want to be miserable. That was probably one of the hardest things about leaving my brother, was that it was family, it was familiar, it was comfortable. I liked the work. But nonetheless, I mean, I think we all kind of go through points in life, different crossroads in life, where we're maybe thinking about, or we're steered in a different direction, or to make change, or whatever that is. And as difficult as that decision was, I've made a lot of difficult decisions in the last couple of years that have changed a lot of different things. And for those of you who follow along with the channel, 2.5 years ago I gave up alcohol. And everything that I've done in that time frame since that point has done nothing but put me more in the direction and the path that I wanted to go. So that being said, the job change was just another one of those difficult decisions. I don't like playing the old saying, the grass is greener. I've been down that road, and you're chasing, after this job or that job or whatever that is in life. And I think that holds true more often than not. What you're changing for, without good, clear thought and decision in what it is that you're trying to do, it doesn't necessarily wind up being the right decision if you haven't thought about it in the right way. So I was cautious about the decision to make the job change. Like I said, I did residential construction and remodel, mostly like baths, basements, kitchens, things like that. And so this job change, I went to work for more of a commercial construction business, and they're another local business where we live, and they focus more on larger, like I said, larger commercial buildings, what they call tilt-up construction, prefab concrete panels, large warehouses that are erected, stood in place, and then it's not what's in the past been poured in place where they do footings and pour these big facilities. But a lot of things like that. They also do a lot of remodel work for their clients and different tenants and people that want to change in their commercial space. So it was a change in a way from the work I was doing, but still following in with the construction side of things, I guess you would say. But what I did for my brother was more of a on-the-job management. We had only a few people that worked with us. A lot of times I dealt with subs and homeowners, a lot of homeowners, and just made sure everything was going, maintained that daily communication mostly between us and the homeowner, but did the work as well. So the job that I actually changed for is a superintendent and more in the commercial construction side, which I think at times has the ability to be more on the managerial side, but the company I work for also is, their supers are very hands-on. So I'd been thinking about this change for a couple of years. And so for those of you who keep up with the channel also that know, my wife and I, our oldest daughter is type 1 diabetic. I almost made this job change when she was diagnosed, because I was thinking that I was probably going to have to make a move towards a job that had better benefits, that would suit our family a little bit better, and maybe take care of those things. And I never expected my brother to pick up the slack on that where I was at, but they were always more than accommodating. That really didn't even become a big issue or anything like that. But with the changes that I've discussed about in the last couple years, some things had still kind of kept coming to mind. This particular business had been coming to mind, and I've talked to a couple of people recently that are in the same boat, kind of, that are thinking about job change, that are thinking about where they want to be, what they want to do. And I think it's just human nature. I think we all do it, and it's a tough thing to do anything change-wise in life. And that's what I feel like, I guess I have more of an edge on these days, without some of the other issues in life, like alcohol or things like that, where you're maybe not always fully thinking about them clearly. That, I understand, that's probably not everybody's situation, but nonetheless, I had those things in mind that I was trying to be very deliberate about, and kind of where I wanted to be, have a little bit more of an end goal. And like I said, it's a tough thing. I get it. Everybody struggles with trying to figure out, where do I want to be, what do I want to do. That anxiety that sets in from change, that I'm comfortable here and I might not be comfortable there. And I think that's why I also rely on, my faith and other things in life that I'm going to be okay. Even if it doesn't pan out, I'm going to be okay. I'm not a bridge burner by any means. I like to maintain good relationships with the people that's taking care of me. So I had came across, I don't know if any of you all have watched it or keep up with it, but there's a channel called Warrior Poet Society. His name's John Lavelle. Phenomenal dude, ex-military, talks a lot about, he does a lot as far as like training and different things for people in self-defense, but then that's where the name Warrior Poet comes in, is he believes a lot in educating yourself, being involved in literature or scripture, different things, and really fine-tuning oneself mentally and physically, and constantly looking to better yourself. So anyways, long story short, he had put up a video. I believe the video title is called Dare, something like. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description down below. But the point of the video is he was talking about a fictional story to his kids that he had been reading them. It was a C.S. Lewis book. And so he basically goes on to make the point that this character in the story didn't dare. And he said, you know, he had to think about it for a couple of weeks and really chew on it, and just how all the ways that was applicable in life, and how in our jobs and in our marriages and all of our things, he brought up his faith and how we can't afford in our lives not to dare. Like that is the essence of living. Everything has an assessed risk. And he had talked about jobs. And so he had said, you know, there's really not, I really agreed with him. He made a point that there's really not, I guess the word plateau in most senses in life is not really a place, you know, that you kind of have just, you've planed out and you're just coasting, that type of thing. And I tend to agree with him because he made the point of it, just like being married. You're kind of you're growing more in love with your spouse or more out of love with your spouse, or you're growing more in tune with your position and better at what you do, or you're growing more out of tune with the position and learning less, and you're just kind of, you're really never just kind of moving straight. So I agreed, you know, with what he had to say. The video was interesting. I thought about it, and kind of how that was, you know, relatable to what I was doing. Was I pushing myself in any way? And so with everything else that I've discussed and what's kind of transpired in the last couple years, that in mind, I really started to think about where do I want to be, what's going to provide best for me and for my family and for my girls, the same things that I had started to think about a few years ago. What would best help them and help me, and very carefully trying to keep that balance in mind of what's too much, what's that real world truth, what is going to be beyond my level of acceptability, that's going to affect my mental state when I come in the door because I'm being pushed so hard. And then on top of that, what also is still pushing me in the direction of growth. And I think that's a very fine line. That's a hard balance. And so, you know, I kind of left that up to fate, or faith, really. But I think that's what makes I think people know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's hard to make a jump and a change in life and be okay with the uncertainties, be okay with the unknown. So that has a lot to do with why I chose to change jobs, why I chose to move. And like I said, the anxieties, the uncertainties, the nervousness about it, I just had to realize that, you know, if it doesn't fit, I'm going to be okay. So I'm capable. I can still do things with my hands. I have all my tools. If I had to go to work for myself for a time being, if the fit wasn't good, then it was what it was, and I would leave it to that. It's funny, when I interviewed for the position that I took, I actually told the boss, which is probably the silliest, or, you know, maybe dumbest thing you could say to your new employer, but I said, being a miserable millionaire does not interest me. And I said, I don't want to do a job that I come home miserable at every day. And he said, I can appreciate exactly what you're saying. I said, I also understand that that's an individual's mindset thing. If you're a miserable person, the job doesn't have really anything to do with it. So I chose to move on with my decision to take the job with the business. They made me a really good offer, and, you know, put those things, all those thoughts and worries behind me, and just go with my gut and make the job change. And it's been great. I like the new position. I like what I'm doing, and you know, it'll start to become more of the norm as time goes by. But more than anything, like I said, that's kind of why I wanted to put the video up. I wanted to kind of let you guys know where I was at, what I've been doing, why I hadn't had a video up in 5-6 weeks, and I do have some projects coming up. I've got some other things. I'm still working on the house that we moved into. I plan on doing a little bit of maybe a walk around through. I've had a couple people ask me about that because they've seen some of the video of the house while I was working on it, but I haven't really shown anybody what it looks like now. So I plan on maybe doing that, and I believe I had told you guys that I was going to discuss what my garage cost, and I still haven't got to that video, so I'm going to try to keep that one on the side burner for any of those of you who are interested. Trying to think, I've still got some shutters and a gable arch to build for the house. I just did a video on a front porch column. So I've got a few things in the works, trying to stay on top of it, but like I said, still trying to get acclimated at this new job. So, you know, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and you know, I just, like I said, more than anything, wanted to kind of talk about that. I know it's also something that's came up a lot in the last couple years because of all of the illness stuff, and people. The job market's changed so much since COVID, and it just doesn't, I mean, the job world's not anything like it was pre 2 years ago, and I know a lot of people have had to make these difficult decisions, or they've been cut loose from a job, and then they've had to go out and interview and do different things. So I feel that the video is relevant to the time, and like I said, I just wanted to give you my perspective on it. Some things that have helped me recently in where I'm at, but there was a couple other things I had noted down, and that pretty much will wrap up the video. But you know, I put down a couple things that I know change is scary and it's unknown, but I also think it's one of the few things that helps to push us, and it also helps to kind of reinvigorate that spark within us, that desire for what it is, or that drive that we have for the things that we like to do, and the work that we do with our hands or our mind, whatever it is that you do for a job. So finding something that has that good balance and can help to push us, but also keep us engaged, is what I was looking for in a job change. So I'll cut the video there and stop rambling. Hopefully it all timeline-wise makes sense. I only had to stop it once and kind of go back and see where I was at. Some of these more long-winded talks can be difficult to keep your place, and so that's pretty much it for tonight. You know, hopefully, like I said, timeline-wise it follows out okay, and you can kind of gather the point that I was trying to make, and to maybe help give you some food for thought on helping you to decide what it is you want to do if you're thinking about this, or job change, or whatever that change is or looks like in your life. So like I said, we appreciate you hanging out with us as always. You know, we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care and have a good day.